So how does a franchise actually pull off a win in the highest stakes T20 match of the year when their two biggest stars score a grand total of 0 runs?
Yeah, I mean, it completely defies all conventional cricket logic.
Right. Well, welcome to the deep dive, everyone. If you were watching the climax of this IPL Super Sunday, you probably spent the last 10 overs just screaming at your television.
Oh, absolutely. I know I was.
Because what we saw shouldn't have happened. On paper, Royal Challengers Bangalore, RCB, clawing their way to the very top of the table with a net run rate above +1.
Yeah, with Virat Kohli getting his second consecutive duck, no less.
Exactly. And Rajat Patidar failing, too. So the system totally broke down. Meanwhile, you've got the mighty Mumbai Indians, along with Lucknow, officially eliminated from playoff contention.
Right, but, the scorecard only gives you the symptoms of that match. It doesn't give you the actual diagnosis.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to you listening, our mission in this deep dive is to explore the real mechanics behind what we just witnessed. This wasn't just luck.
No, not at all. It was a brutal psychological stress test.
Yeah, a test that exposed the absolute best and worst of franchise cricket. On one side, we saw how sheer individual willpower and, honestly, physical agony dragged one team to victory.
And on the flip side, we watched a powerhouse franchise engineer its own collapse through just a terrifying void of leadership.
The duality of it is crazy.
Yeah.
So let's start with the victors. RCB's gritty resilience, because they required some really unlikely heroes to step up when the main pillars collapsed.
Yeah, and the most staggering example of that has to be Krunal.
Oh, wow, Krunal's innings. Let's get into that.
I mean, he played this clutch innings of 73 runs, which is impressive anyway, right?
Sure.
But the context makes it historic. He was basically batting through a severe back spasm, like the guy was on practically one leg.
It was incredibly difficult to watch. He was literally collapsing in the crease after executing these, trajectory-altering hits.
Yeah, and hitting a 6 in T20 cricket, it requires immense rotational torque from your lower back.
Right, you need a totally stable core.
Exactly. So Krunal trying to clear the boundary with a severe back spasm is...
It's essentially like trying to fire a cannon from a canoe.
Oh, that's a phenomenal analogy. Yeah, he had zero stable foundation.
So how is he generating that kind of power?
Well, when your lower body is compromised like that, you have to rely entirely on hand-eye coordination.
Just pure bat speed.
Yeah, bat speed and manipulating the bowler's pace. He couldn't pivot naturally, so he was essentially using his arms as levers.
Just swinging through the line of the ball much earlier than usual.
Right. It immediately brings to mind Glenn Maxwell's legendary World Cup innings against Afghanistan.
Oh, where he also batted on one leg.
Exactly. It requires a level of pain tolerance and, honestly, spatial awareness that very few athletes possess.
And, Krunal is a proven clutch player. We all remember his man-of-the-match performance in that previous IPL final.
Yeah, he shows up when it matters.
But watching him grit his teeth through this specific match, it felt like there was an ulterior motive. He wasn't just batting for RCB out there.
Ah, you're picking up on the broader narrative.
Yeah.
Krunal has been highly vocal lately about wanting a recall to the Indian national team.
Right. And a lot of pundits just dismissed that ambition entirely.
They did, but national selectors don't just look at strike rates. They look at temperament.
So by pushing through that visceral physical pain to secure a playoff spot, he's sending a message.
Exactly. He forced the selectors to acknowledge his sheer willpower. He effectively changed his career narrative from, a fading veteran to an indispensable asset in high-stress situations.
I hear that, but Krunal's heroics would have meant nothing without the other half of this rescue mission.
You're talking about Bhuvaneshwar Kumar.
Yes, Bhuvi. Because he dismantled Mumbai's top order in the power play. He took 4 wickets.
Yeah, taking out Rohit Sharma, Tilak Varma, and handing a golden duck to Surya Kumar Yadav. That is unbelievable impact.
And this is where I want to push back on the broader cricket culture for a second.
Okay, go for it.
Why is Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, a purple cap holder who consistently alters the course of games, still treated as one of the most underrated cricketers in India?
It's a great question, and I think it mostly comes down to aesthetics versus mechanics.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we're in an era that is totally obsessed with the radar gun, right? Fans and broadcasters, they love raw 150-kilometer-per-hour pace.
Because it looks dramatic on TV.
Exactly. But Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is a technician. He operates in these really subtle margins of swing and seam presentation.
It's a much quieter art form.
Yeah, but Dinesh Karthik, who was actually instrumental behind the scenes in bringing Bhuvi to RCB, He recognized a fundamental truth.
Well, Karthik being a wicket-keeper, he sees the ball's trajectory from the best seat in the house.
Right. A wicket-keeper understands the late movement that genuinely troubles a batter.
So he saw what everyone else was missing.
Exactly. Karthik knew that behind maybe Jasprit Bumrah, Bhuvi remains the most consistent bowler in India.
Because he exploits those minute weaknesses in footwork.
Yeah, he doesn't need the ball at lightning speed if he can make the ball deviate just a few inches late in its flight. That technical precision is like a surgeon's scalpel compared to a fast bowler's sledgehammer.
But the craziest part is, the climax of Bhuvi's night wasn't even with the ball. It was with the bat.
Oh, the 20th over.
Yeah. Let's set the scene for the listener. It's the 20th over of the run chase. RCB is trailing. Romario Shepherd is at the crease, and it is just painful to watch.
Oh, he was struggling miserably.
He faces 11 balls and scrapes together 4 runs. He looks entirely disjointed.
Yeah, the timing was totally absent. His footwork was heavy. You could physically see the tension radiating from the RCB dugout.
Because when a batter struggles like that in the death overs, it just suffocates the entire team's momentum.
Right, but then surprisingly, Shepherd getting out was actually a blessing in disguise.
Because it brings Bhuvneshwar Kumar to the crease for the final over.
The pressure is astronomical at this point.
And on the 4th ball, Bhuvi reads the length perfectly and just launches a massive 6 into the stands.
It was incredible. It completely shifted the momentum.
It wasn't just a physical feat. It was a psychological blow that shattered Mumbai's bowler. And that allowed Rasik Dar to run a diving double on the final ball to win the match.
Yeah, it was an absolute heist.
Which begs the question, why on earth was a 23-year-old inexperienced bowler left alone to absorb that kind of blow?
And that is the crucial pivot point of this entire match. To understand how Mumbai allowed that heist to happen, we have to look at their catastrophic breakdown in strategy.
Right, so let's transition to Mumbai's meltdown. Because Jasprit Bumrah had just bowled a phenomenal 19th over to bring Mumbai back into the game.
Which is standard for Bumrah.
Right.
In T20 cricket, the 19th over is often the most vital. You want your premier bowler to restrict the runs there.
Leaving an impossible mathematical task for the 20th over. So Bumrah did his job perfectly. The game was practically gift-wrapped for Mumbai.
And this is where the leadership vacuum totally reveals itself.
Well, Hardik Pandya is absent, right? There are all these swirling rumors about him unfollowing the Mumbai Indians on social media.
Yeah, the internal dynamics are a mess. So Suryakumar Yadav, SKY, takes the reins as captain.
And SKY makes a decision that is baffling.
He makes a decision that will probably be scrutinized in coaching manuals for years. For the decisive 20 is over, he hands the ball to Raj Bawa,
A 23-year-old.
a 23-year-old with negligible experience closing out high-stakes run chases.
So what does this all mean? If you're a junior employee giving a massive presentation to the board and you freeze, you'd expect your boss to step in and save you. Why did Mumbai's bosses just watch the ship sink?
That's the million-dollar question. Because Bawa crumbled under the pressure.
Mechanically, what happened to him out there?
Well, he kept bowling full deliveries outside off stump instead of attempting the Yorkers you'd expect in a death over.
Right, he was giving away wides and even bowled a no ball.
Yeah, it's pure biomechanics influenced by extreme cognitive stress. A Yorker requires millimeter precision at the release point.
And when a young player is drowning in pressure, the adrenaline spikes.
Exactly. Their heart rate skyrockets, which degrades fine motor skills. The muscles in the arm and shoulder just tense up.
So if you grip the ball too tightly and release it a millisecond late,
You bowl it straight into the pitch. And if you release it early because your arm is stiff, it becomes a juicy full toss. Bawa's muscle tension was completely overriding his muscle memory.
which brings me back to the most shocking element, the silence.
Oh, the silence in that dugout and on the field was deafening.
You have SKY wearing the captain's armband. You have Jasprit Bumrah standing right there in the field.
And Lasith Malinga in the dugout, the undisputed king of the Yorker.
And not a single one of them walked over to this 23-year-old kid. No one offered advice. No one calmed his nerves or told him to reset his field to give him a larger margin of error.
They completely abandoned him. They left him stranded on an island.
But let me ask you this. Is it just a failure of leadership or is it self-preservation?
What do you mean?
Well, when a situation turns that toxic, do veterans consciously or subconsciously distance themselves because they don't want the stench of the inevitable failure clinging to them?
Wow. That is a dark, but honestly, highly plausible reading of the team culture. When a dressing room is fractured, collective responsibility just evaporates.
Right. Players retreat into their own silos.
And we saw that cultural rot manifest physically in the fielding, too. It wasn't just the bowling.
Oh, you mean the Namantir and Tilak Varma dropped catch?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was comical, but tragic.
Yeah.
Namantir actually secures a catch, but then inexplicably tosses it toward Tilak Varma, who totally fumbles it.
It's just a staggering lack of basic communication.
But the crazy thing is what happened next.
The cover-up.
Yeah. They realized the broadcast cameras were on them, so they faked this celebratory hug to cover up the mistake.
Like we just made a catastrophic error, let's pretend we're just overly hyped to mask the dysfunction. It's a perfect metaphor for Mumbai's internal state right now.
It prioritizes optics over execution. And we really need to emphasize how unfair this all was to the rest of the bowling unit.
Because Corbin Bosch actually bowled a magnificent spell earlier.
Right, he took a 4-wicket haul. He took out dangerous players like Patidar and Jacob Bethel.
So Bosch and Bumrah gave Mumbai every fighting chance. The failure rests squarely on the strategic paralysis and tactical blunders in that final over.
Absolutely. The bowlers did their job, but the leadership failed them.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the ripple effects of this single match, they aren't confined to the franchise standing.
No, not at all. We are looking at macro-level implications for the Indian national team here. This was a career-altering night for several players.
Let's talk about the fall of Jitesh Sharma, for instance.
Yeah, Jitesh's decline has been steep. He was brought into the setup to be a reliable finisher, but he's consistently failed to accelerate in crucial moments, often playing way too slow.
But the issues seem to go beyond just his on-field mechanics. There's a historical context here, right?
There is, and we have to look back at his attitude during the emerging Asia Cup.
Okay, remind us what happened there.
So during that tournament, Jitesh was given a leadership role. And in a critical situation, he arrogantly chose to sit out performing players, like Vaibhav.
Right, he benched him.
Yeah, and he inserted himself based purely on some sense of seniority.
And then he got out on the very first ball.
Exactly. He made excuses about his seniority, failed to deliver, and it just fractured trust. National selectors watch these attitude indicators closely.
So his inability to check his ego or adapt his mechanics means his dream of an Indian team entry is...
It's likely over.
Yeah. But Jitesh is almost a supporting character in the larger drama here, because the truly seismic shockwave involves Suryakumar Yadav.
Yeah, SKY is facing a severe crisis.
We're talking about a player who has won 2 T20 World Cups for India, but his batting form has completely vanished since taking on these leadership roles.
Evidenced by that golden duck against Bhuvi.
Exactly. So I have to ask, is SKY a victim of the classic captaincy curse? Does the mental burden of leadership actively destroy a naturally free-flowing batter's instincts?
It's a fascinating question, and to understand it, you have to look at how SKY normally processes the game. At his peak, he's a purely instinctive player.
Right. He relies on that rapid-fire System 1 thinking.
Yes. He doesn't overanalyze the bowler. He just reacts to the line and length with an unburdened mind. He uses his wrists to manipulate the field effortlessly.
But captaincy introduces System 2 thinking.
Exactly. Captaincy forces you into analytical, conscious processing. You're constantly calculating field placements, over rates, bowler matchups.
So when you force an instinctive genius to start intellectualizing everything, you just clutter their mind.
Which slows down their reaction time at the crease.
Yeah.
By the time SKY processes the swing of Bhuvi's delivery, his bat is just a fraction of a second too late.
And it seems the management is actually recognizing this cognitive overload. Trusted sources are indicating that SKY might be removed from the T20 captaincy altogether.
Yeah, the rumors are gaining a lot of traction. Sanju Samson is emerging as the clear frontrunner for the role.
With Shreyas Iyer also in the mix, right?
Yep, which is a massive pivot, especially since SKY recently requested to stay on as captain until the Los Angeles Olympics.
He wants that long runway.
He does, but his performance simply doesn't justify it. The national team requires a leader who brings clarity, not the kind of chaos we saw in that 20th over.
And the ultimate irony of this potential leadership change is just brutal.
You're talking about that past press conference?
Yes. Do you remember? SKY was sitting there laughing, and he openly asked the reporters, "For whom should I drop Sanju, Abhishek, Tilak?"
Right, he was publicly dismissing Sanju Samson as a threat.
And now, fast forward to today, fans and pundits are looking at this tactical ruin and saying, "We aren't dropping them, we are dropping you for Sanju."
It is the ultimate reality check. Past glory doesn't buy you endless patience when your decisions are sinking the ship.
Wow. Okay, to summarize what we've unpacked for you today, this Super Sunday clash was basically a tale of two extremes.
Yeah, it really was.
On one side, we saw RCB's incredible squad depth and individual grit. Krunal's agonizing one-legged innings and Bhuvi's dual threat propelling them toward the playoffs.
And juxtaposed against that, Mumbai demonstrated a complete tactical paralysis and leadership vacuum.
But I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. We often dismiss franchise cricket as just a flashy commercial tournament, a summer spectacle.
But this match proves it's the ultimate psychological crucible.
Exactly. When the pressure peaks, it doesn't just reveal who wins a shiny trophy.
Right, it exposes who actually has the mental fortitude to lead a nation. Think about it, if a 23-year-old being left to fend for himself in the 20th over can spark a national captaincy change, you have to ask yourself,
What's that?
are we watching a sport or are we watching a real-time corporate survival test?
That is a brilliant point to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the narratives behind the scorelines, and we'll see you next time.